everyone. I am Melissa. Welcome to my channel today. It is good to see you today. It is. Well, today I'm just going to jump right into it like I normally do. No beating around the bush here. And I've moved on to the mental impact of grief. And my last couple of videos talking about, racing thoughts, feeling like I'm going crazy. Well, today I wanted to talk about forgetfulness because that is a big one for me, you guys. It is a big one for me, forgetfulness. I forget stuff and I lose things. That's what I do. So once again, I've termed it grief brain. That's what I call it. And so I have my notes. And so forgive me for looking down and up because I just do. I'm in grief, and I am a grieving mother. And for those of you that are new with me today on the video, 4 years ago, we lost our two youngest children to murder, Noah and Sophia. And Noah was age 7 and our Fifi girl was age 5. And so I sure wonder about my brain. I do, friends. I forget stuff and I lose things. My memory is suddenly terrible. And let's all be honest, it's not like my memory was the greatest thing on the block before grief, but now in grief, the memory is bad. It is bad. And I just wonder a lot of times, am I just on grief overload? A year ago, my mother died due to heart failure. And 3 months after my mother died, my father died. And then about 5 months after my father died, my grandmother died, my mother's mother. So I wonder, am I on grief overload? Not to mention the pandemic that our nation's in, the 3rd year of this COVID pandemic. And it just feels like all around we're impacted and more impacted by death than I can really remember in my own lifetime. And so yeah, forgetfulness, grief overload. I wonder, is that my issue? But that's probably, I'm sure, just part of it. Really, it's just like, my goodness, I'll never see Noah and Sophia graduate, fall in love, get married. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We do have 2 other teens here, but the house feels empty, and so does my brain. So some days I just totally zone out. Actually, most days I just totally zone out. There's usually a period of the day somewhere that I'm zoning out. Yesterday, I honestly couldn't even remember my age or even my date of birth. Like, I couldn't even remember it. It was just gone, and it was just, everything was so fuzzy trying to recall what my date of birth was. I just tend to forget things now. Grief, it just takes up an enormous space and energy, friends. It does, and that is hard to convey to the non-grieving community, that grief takes up enormous space and energy. And so as a result, I just simply have less brain available for everyday life. That's kind of how I've been able to start to finally figure this thing out. I'm just like, I hope this is not a permanent condition, Oh gosh, the grief experts, they love to tell us it's not. They definitely tell us that forgetfulness is common and natural in grief, especially the loss of a child. And in our case, my case, we've lost 2 children. Really 3. Our oldest is in prison for 96 years. So it's like a death for him in a sense too, So basically, with less mental space available, friends, I forget things. I forget appointments. Shoot, I will forget why I even came into a room. Seriously. I'll walk into a room with my cup And so the initial part was to dump the ice out and get new ice and get a new drink. And I'll just be standing there with the cup in my hand, like, why did I even come into the room? Yesterday I was looking for something. I don't even remember what I was looking for, but I was holding it in my hand the whole time. And my husband goes, babe, you're holding it's right there. That's grief, forgetfulness, forgetting that it's actually even in my own hand. I'm like holding it, forgetting that it's there, asking people, where is it? That is me. And of course, I can never seem to find like the mailbox key or my cell phone sometimes, My car keys, I finally got much better on that. So I do way better. I don't lose those as much. I've now finally got a long lanyard and put those things on there and usually keep that in my purse. But I'll tell you what, man, you'll be walking around here looking for stuff. Looking for stuff. I'd have put it somewhere, I can't remember. And you know what's really odd? Is that you can actually have no memory of putting it there. You know what I'm saying? For those of you in grief, you gotta know what I'm saying. Like, you put it there, but you don't even remember putting it there, and there it is. It is just such the weirdest, fuzziest thing that goes on inside your brain, when you're just like, damn, I put that there, but I don't remember putting it there. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Forgetfulness. I experience memory gaps about the past as well. Now, this one's a little bit harder for me to maybe deal with in the present. Like for instance, I can't even recall sometimes what I did last holiday, or last Christmas, or let alone what I had for lunch. That can be difficult too. My husband will be like, what'd you eat today? And I'm like, and it'll really take me a few minutes to kind of recall what I had for lunch, and then other memories get jumbled up together as I mix two recollections together to create one. Okay, that, well, either one never happened, or two, it's not happening exactly the way I remembered it. Now this, friends, is where trustworthy people come into play. Really trustworthy people that you interact with on a daily life, because if you can't trust them, what they're telling you, that's an awful, it's awful. And I've been in that too, and we really rely, my husband and I, we really rely on the honesty of each other, that we're being really honest with each other to say, you know what, you really did put that there, or you really did say that, I mean, even little things like measurements, I'll say, I need, I'll leave it, like the other day, actually, we were talking with my brother, and because my brother was here for Christmas, and I said feet and it was supposed to have been inches, and things like that, whatever the sentence was, I was, and then, so yeah. And so a lot of times, even in our conversations in grief, we're stopping to correct each other, or we're confusing the other person we're talking to because we're using the wrong words. Yeah, I got a lot of that goes on in my house with our teens even too. Grief has affected my whole family's brain, very similar like this. So and if we had memory issues before, chances are the grief is just going to exasperate those issues. So, and I did have some memory issues before, I kind of felt like, especially as a busy mom. A busy mom of 5, just go. Shoot, I know people in my own life right now in this grief that they had normally perfect memory recall, could recall things like, just like that, and they are discovering that things are slipping through the cracks created by their loss as well. So loss definitely creates forgetfulness, and it's just, yeah, I really do believe it's common and natural. And I hear it a lot, I see it a lot on even, I do. This is one of the things I hear a lot from other grieving parents is forgetfulness, forgetting their own name, forgetting even what city they were born in, their date of birth. Forgetting how to make a meal that you've made for 30 years with your eyes closed, and all of a sudden you don't remember what the ingredients are. Or you make a meal and you forget one of the main ingredients. And we're all sitting at the table like, this ain't looking and tasting quite the same. Oh yeah, that's happened to me several times. And it's like, as I'm eating, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to put such and such in it. Yeah. It's amazing I remember anything. It is. Because all I can think about is Noah and Sophia. Yeah. Grief is tough. And forgetfulness is common and natural. I heard the Lord tell me, go easy on yourself, Melissa. Go easy on yourself. You have less brain power available right now. So that's my message to you as a grieving parent. Go easy on yourself right now. Go easy on yourself. Grieving any kind of loss, any deep loss, go easy on yourself, because we just don't have the full brain power that we used to right now. The Holy Spirit was also telling me, downgrade your expectations, Melissa. Downgrade your expectations. It's not business or life as usual. So it's far from it. Far from business and life as usual. So to expect myself to keep the same schedule, perform at the same level, and do all that I did before is so unrealistic and unhealthy. Really. But it's extremely unrealistic. And so I believe that's my message for you too, Right now, in our grief, this is unrealistic. We are changed. We are forever changed. Forever changed. So we got to quit expecting ourselves as grieving parents. Oh, I'm preaching to the choir. I got to quit expecting myself to keep the same schedule and perform at the same level. And so do my family and friends. And I have to have that of them as well. I can't expect, my husband to keep the same schedule, for him to perform at the same level. He's grieving deeply too. And this is hard for both of us, equally, doubly. It is. It's hard. Men show emotions differently than women by far. But his pain cuts just as deep. And who am I to take away someone else's pain and grief? I'm not. Each of our pain is our pain. It is. It is. Excuse me, friends. I'm a little thirsty. I got to take a quick sip. Thank you. That was a little icy and chunky in there. Okay, so, there was like an activity in one of my grief journal books, and this one actually proved to be a little beneficial for me. It was just said, try to make a simple list, morning, night, whichever, of the things, 3. That's the key thing, 3 and only 3, not more than 3, of priorities that you want to do the following day. And then you just focus on these things. If you get other things done, hey, that's a bonus. Okay? But just focus on those 3 things. And most importantly, don't forget to put self-care on there. Self-care needs to be a high priority in our grief. In life, generally, period. But especially so in grief. Especially so in grief, friends. We need nutrition. We need rest. Exercise. Even if it's just getting up out of the bed and walking around the house to do a load of laundry and wash the dishes. That can make the difference for me in the day of my energy level or not, Prayer, most definitely, is a high priority of self-care. Your spiritual and emotional and mental well-being is so important. And I need to believe this more. It's so much easier for me to encourage somebody else that their self-care is so extremely important as I neglect my own. Yeah. So I'm working on that. Working on saying no more. Working on, saying no more. And sticking to the boundaries. Sticking to my boundaries that I put up, you know. The Lord showed me something, and I also read it in a devotional book 3 years ago, and it has just really stayed with me. That to remember, it said, remember, a successful day is one in which, at the end of the day, you stayed in communication with the Lord throughout the day. Whether you got your shit done or not, whether your stuff on your list was done or not, you're, you know, like I got to learn to measure my day of success differently. Quit measuring it by the world's standards or my neighbor's standards or my friend's standards, you know? And the Lord is saying to me, look, my standard is talking to me, talking to God. So a successful day is one in which I stayed talking to the Lord and stayed breathing. So someday, most of the time, my list will just say, you know, 1, breathe, 2, get dressed, and 3, say good morning to my family. Those can be big challenges for me in my daily grief in the morning. So I'm not talking, we got to come up with 3 big tasks. You need to mow the lawn and clean out your closet and spring clean. No. But what do you desire to do? And that list don't need to be shown to nobody. That's you and God's list, you know? And I tell you what, as a grieving mother, much of my goal is to continue to breathe throughout the day. To remember to breathe, to breathe, to breathe. And to still love. I love to love. I do. And I've got a lot of love that sometimes feels like it has nowhere to go with Noah and Sophia gone. You know, the Lord's been showing me how to lavish that love on other little ones. So back to forgetfulness. There, my brain went into another subject from another video, but forgetfulness, they claim it's usually not a permanent condition. Who knows? I'll let you know in about 5 more years, 10, 20, if I'm around that long. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's a permanent condition or not. I know it's a permanent loss on earth without Noah and Sophia. It's a permanent grief, a permanent hole, a permanent gaping hole in my heart. So I don't know, friends. But I do know it's common. I do know it's natural, you know, for a lot of us grieving parents. You know, that's like, in that first year, I just couldn't remember anything. My mind is not the same, friends. It's not the same. Nothing is the same. Nothing is the same. Nothing is the same, friends. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. We got this, friends. We got each other. We got each other as this grieving community, as grieving parents. We got each other. God bless you and be well today, friends. And I'll see you at the next video.